this is not about black or white thinking. It's about this is a process, this is a journey that we will always be on. Hey Jay, thanks for the emails, brother. I wanted to get back with you, and I thought I'm going to go ahead and send you a video. So firstly, phenomenal job emailing me and telling me what you're going through. Amazing work to post on the forum and express what you're going through and ask for feedback from the guys. Like that awareness, Jay, that's what you need to do, the behavior, the warrior within inside of you that takes action of what to do. You are doing those things in reaching out to me and in posting on the forum. Okay, that's the first thing. I want to acknowledge you for that. I'm going to talk through what happened with Kelly a little bit, but the theme of what I'm reading and the theme of what I'm seeing here, Jay, is some black and white thinking. Okay. And this is not about black or white thinking. It's about this is a process. This is a journey that we will always be on. We as men will always be on. Hell, so 2 nights ago, I was on a walk with my fiance and we were discussing potentially partnering, because she's a therapist and a coach also, within a particular project. And I realized I started to hold my breath. I realized the discussion, the way that it was going, didn't feel exactly right. And I had to say, okay, we were actually taking a walk, and I had to say, all right, I just want to stop for a second because I'm noticing that I'm holding my breath and it's almost like I can't breathe right now. And so I want to just pause, and we were looking at the sunset, and I was breathing and I was breathing. And what I realized is what I and we were potentially discussing could get in the way of our intimacy. It could hurt the masculine-feminine dynamic within the intimacy between the two of us. And I had, instead of saying, I don't want this, which my brain really wanted to say out loud, okay? And I knew that wouldn't be calmly and strongly vulnerable. That would have been vulnerable, but it would have been speaking about what I don't want in more of a weak, fearful way. And so I was just stopping those words from coming out of my head. And I said, all right, frame this in the positive. How do you want this in the positive? And I said, I want to move forward and spearhead this idea like the warrior out in front. And I want you to be my intimate partner. And I only want this to improve our relationship together. I only want this to grow the intimacy between the two of us. That's what I want. And then I said, I'm not sure what that vision looks like yet. So I'm actually literally going to meditate on it. I'm going to think about that and feel into that and meditate on it. And I'd like to talk with you about it again really soon. Okay. So even my point is, no one's perfect in this, all right? I've been doing this work for a long time. I work with this professionally. I work with this with my son every single day because of his troubles. I mean, I swim in the ocean of this work every day, and even I have to be fully aware of what's going on in my body, breathe, be okay, if you will, with even any kind of discomfort or pain or joy or happiness or anything that's going on within me, and recognize, okay, I'm like fucking holding my breath here and my heart's starting to pound, so I need to just slow that down first and then take steps that we know we need to take, right? Say things in the affirmative, and I'll talk about specifics later. But it's not a black or white. It's not, basically you're saying, I need to get back, I need to get back to the place of this whole thing happening for me, not to me. That's not a place to either be or not be. It's a journey. It's a place to be striving toward. It's an awareness to be striving toward. And Jay, you've come a fucking long way, man, right? So through this, it's almost like if it's black, it's not black or white. It's not pass fail. So you're judging yourself for your, what you called basically skill level with Kelly, right? Now, of course, being a mountain lion, kind of being able to say something sexy, funny, or to be able to give her a calm, mature invitation to say, hey, come on in the house, or what else, something else you may have said in that moment that was, quote, more skillful. Sure. Like, sure, you can become more skillful in inviting a woman into being vulnerable with you. But something I want to point out is it's fucking glaringly obvious to me that Kelly isn't in a place to want openness and vulnerability and intimacy with you. I mean, you invited her on Saturday to come over. You said that you know that she read it right away, which is probably what your phone told you. And even if you didn't know, hell, 28 hours later, she wrote back, ignored your request, and just basically said something completely business, completely pragmatic. She pulled up. It was fucking glaringly obvious she didn't want any intimacy with you in that moment, at least. Right? Pulled up on the driveway, waved the mail, like for you to come fetch the mail. No femininity in what she was doing, by the way. She was not wanting intimacy with you, okay? Now, that's not personal to you. That doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you, which part of that is a story that may go through your mind, right? Like, you've reflected and you've blown this opportunity, okay? There's only an opportunity, Jay, when the woman is actually open to having some kind of connection or intimacy with you. There is no opportunity. There was no opportunity there with Kelly. Okay? There was no opportunity to practice skills of invitation and openness and vulnerability with her because she wasn't open to it, straight up. Now, I do want to acknowledge you that the reason that you felt, one of the reasons you felt sort of deflated afterwards is you opened yourself to a vulnerable connection. You were inviting her within your own energy to be with you, with your invitation on Saturday and everything that we've talked about with you and Kelly. Okay? You've been working on your own self, which is what you can control, in being open and available and vulnerable. Okay? And then what happened was she was not. And so now you have a feeling of rejection, right? Which completely makes sense, right? But if you feel that rejection because I know that you were open to some kind of intimacy, you were open to being what I see is honestly just normally vulnerable with someone you want to invite back into your life. You invited her over. That's perfect. You didn't need to do anything more than what you did, Jay. I think anything more would have maybe been needy. Now, sure, you made a point to say that in the 3-minute interaction, she asked you, what? Like, what's up? And you say that it seems like she felt your, I'm not saying the exact words here, feeling your neediness, right? Where is it here? It only lasted 3 minutes. And in the neediness, desperation, and seeking crumbs of interest from her came flying out of me. Okay. So that what you're, and by the way, that may not be true. She may not have seen that as incredible, amazing neediness and desperation. That's your story that you're telling yourself about the interaction. And I get that. And that's how you feel it's how you felt when you wrote this. And that's how you felt when you know, in your first email to me. And I recognize you sent me a second one, which was incredibly mature to say that you settled down and you're responsible for it. You know, you're responsible for your actions, which is true. Okay, that's true, and that's great, and I love that you're standing up for yourself here. Accepting and working around her bullshit was my choice. In the past? Okay, so I see you're trying to move yourself into this is happening for me and recognizing, hey, I didn't have a strong center within myself. I didn't know how to uphold or know what my boundaries were within relationship around everything we've talked about with Kelly J, right? But back to, you were open to something with her and you were kind of thinking, well, what do I say here? Which is fine. Like the skills of what to say, you'll get better with, but she wasn't open to you at all. She wasn't feminine. She wasn't interested in connection with you. So there's nothing that you could have said. There's nothing that fucking Don Juan could have said, which, by the way, I looked it up again today. Don Juan is a 17th century fictional character. Right? And by the way, I made some notes for myself before I called you. If you have to be this amazing fucking rock star Don Juan to get to invite a woman into your life and to be emotionally open for you, She's probably not very emotionally literate herself. She's not in touch with herself. She hasn't done her own work to realize that she needs to make herself happy. She needs to understand what she wants. Kelly wouldn't show up in this kind of fucking guarded, avoidant, masculine way, calling you over like a dog with your mail, if she was in touch with herself. All right. She wouldn't be acting that way. That's really, honestly, cold and immature of her to act that way. Right. She might have said, no, no, thank you. I don't want to come over. I'll just drop your mail off tomorrow. The next day she can pull into the driveway, get out, have a normal conversation with you, be courteous, just hand you your mail, and you could have invited her in. She said, no, no, thank you. You know, I'm going to get going in my day. I want to get going, and goodbye, and left. Like, that would have been fine. But instead of that, she acted in this avoidant, cold way. Now, you didn't deserve that. There's nothing that you did to deserve that. That wasn't your fault. That's the way she was being. There's nothing that you could have done about that. All right. So I want you to know that. Now, okay, so the feelings afterwards were like, fuck. You recognize that you were seeking validation in some capacity from her because you were hoping, you were expecting, you were really wishing for a connection with her. Okay? It's okay to want something. It's just that you know you don't need it to live. And that's where you're getting. That's why you sent me this second email, 30 minutes later after the first, which is a very short amount of time, saying like, hey, I'm validating myself. This is my responsibility to process these emotions that are going through. That's all true. That's absolutely true. But it's not a failure on your part to feel disappointed the way that it went. It's okay to feel disappointed, right? It's not that you need to be completely cold, don't give a shit. It's not about that. It's realizing, hey, this is where I am with Kelly. I'm going to take a step forward, like you and I talked about. You did exactly what I suggested that you do, which is invite her to try to make a connection with her to see what kind of intimacy is available between the two of you. You got your answer, all right? Loud and clear, barn burning down, you got your answer that Kelly is not, at least right now, she's a 0 out of 10 in her wanting to be open to any kind of intimacy or vulnerability with you right now. You got that answer. All right. So yeah, you process the emotions yourself. That's your responsibility, the feelings of disappointment. You reach out to other men, which you did. Fucking A. You reach out to me. You do the things that you want to do. I'm going to get to the job and covering, pain with working in your job, because I don't agree with that. And I want to tell you why. And then you step forward, as far as to talk about Kelly, then you step forward of, well, do I want to try another step with Kelly at this point? I mean, this is up to you. This isn't for me to tell you what to do. You will feel clear about your decisions once you feel grounded within yourself. You know what kind of intimacy you want to have with a woman, and how much time, this was even talked about on the forum, how much time you want to give to this process, and to continually be inviting Kelly into vulnerability with you, into openness with you. Sure, you have your own work. It's all a process. It's all a moving, growing being, all right, here, as far as your skills within relationship, especially with Kelly, with the 8 years of truckload of stuff. But you have to ask yourself, do I have any signs that she's wanting to meet me in relationship? Is she walking across the bridge to meet me in the middle? Is she even saying that she wants that? All right. For there to be relationship, both people have to want to give effort and acknowledgement and love into a relationship. One person, and I just realized this, Jay, one person can't be the workhorse and pull the cart of the entire relationship. Right? That may be a pattern from your past that you've learned in childhood, which we've talked about, but that's not going to be a healthy, connected, loving relationship like you want. Okay. So Only you can decide how much more effort and time and thought you want to give to potentially growing intimacy with Kelly. All right, now I really want to go into talking about when you were asked about building what kind of amazing life for yourself. I didn't really have much of a concrete answer. Okay, the way you speak with me, I don't agree with you there, right? We've spoken, and you have continued to define what you want from job one and your real estate. We've talked about you doing hobbies, and I know as far as like what are you doing physically for yourself to be healthy. Interested in different parts of the country. What kind of research are you doing for different parts of the country to grow your own vision of who you want to be as a man, what you want to experience, who you want to have around you, what kind of people do you want to have around you, right? Part of here is saying that you're not around your family, right? I don't see it right this moment, but that she's around her family, but you are not. And so what I'm hearing there is you feeling unfulfilled in your connection with people that care for you. You feel an unmet need right now of other people in a healthy way nurturing you as a man and as a human. And if you don't feel that way, if you don't feel that you have your needs met as far as love and connection, you will feel that space within you. And seeing Kelly flared all of that because of your want and hope to invite her into vulnerability, which she isn't wanting, at least not wanting right now, 0 out of 10 right now, according to what I saw. And the flash of what you've sacrificed to be with Kelly in the past, and maybe sacrificed your growth in personal relationships or not being around your family. So it's really flaring that pain, that emptiness of not having those connections and that love. Now, that's not bad or good in and of itself. What is phenomenal, Jay, is your understanding that that feeling is within inside of you. All right, so the first step is awareness of the feeling, and then the second step is processing the feeling. Let it flow through you. It's not about shoving it down. It's not about and by the way, I don't believe from our discussions that you've been covering those feelings with your jobs. What you're doing is becoming a fucking amazing man for yourself. You're going for your dreams of real estate. You just had, at least one amazing, gigantic closing that kicked ass that we talked about last time. You need to get your own shit together as far as your passion and career, first priority regardless, so that you can feel confident and so that you can have the time freedom that you want, so you can have the lifestyle that you want, so you can invite a woman into that life, right? You don't have to wait until it's perfect, because it never will be. You don't have to wait to talk to women, which you aren't waiting. You're speaking with other women. You're doing all those things. I disagree that you've been covering, guarding yourself with these jobs, because we've specifically talked about that. Let me see here. Not living your life and don't even know where to start. We'll talk about that in a second, and then I'll wrap up for us. I don't think not even knowing where to start, this is lazy. It's just black and white thinking. It's it's falling into despair, right? So acknowledge right that second you didn't feel like you knew where to start, and then take a step forward from there. Okay, I want to know where to start, right? I can start with taking a walk outside, going to the gym, emailing Jeff, posting on the forum, right? You did those things. And then you are way past the starting line, Jay. With real estate and going for the lifestyle that you want and doing this work on yourself and the homework that you do and the writing that you do and the books that you read, you're way past the starting line, okay? So I'm calling bullshit on that lie that you sometimes tell yourself here that I'm reading of, like, you don't know where to start, right? The lie covers up the pain of not feeling connected, of potentially feeling rejected, right? those lies that our brain tells ourselves, those lizard brain, monkey mind thoughts that aren't necessarily true, that lie of you don't know where to start is just how you feel in that moment. That's not really true. Right? And that's why immediately you said, I know that's a lazy viewpoint, and I will make a point to think about that. Like, right there, you immediately acknowledge that thought, that feeling, that monkey mind thought. I mean, that's awesome. Like, there's no fucking way you're at the starting line, dude. Like, this is awesome. You are working on your passion, letting women be the icing on the cake. Like, absolutely. You're just still also feeling the pain of the time you had with Kelly. And that's what we've talked about. And you're working on that. That's a process. I've been using work and hobbies as a coping mechanism for years now, and I'm just burned out on a lot of it. I think what you're burned out on is beating yourself up over the lack of connection between you and Kelly, right? Sure, you are part of the dynamic. You recognize that. You're working on that. You're making amazing strides toward being more skillful in that area, okay? That doesn't mean that you can make her connect with you. That doesn't mean that even if you become a fucking rock star at this, that she's going to connect with you. That doesn't mean that at all. And I think you logically know that, but what you're burned out on is the looping, churning thoughts of what could I have done? What could I do now to like make her reconnect with me, or to make the pain of the past okay? And the God, why did I like it's the self-judgment, it's the black and white thinking, and it's the could I do something magical right now to fix all of this and make her love me? That is what's exhausting. That is what, I mean, I would feel burned out from that. Absolutely. Just even saying that is like, oh my God, I'm not enough, right? What could I have done? Love isn't available to me. None of those things are true. Jay, you are enough, and it's time to continue to father yourself. To father yourself in saying those things, that you're on this journey, that you are enough. And sure, you make mistakes, and that's called being human. And you want a woman that can show up in that space with you and be vulnerable and intimate and understand that she has her own stuff and loves that you're human, that loves what you're willing to do for yourself and for those that you love. Right? There's millions of women out there, right? And as far as how much time you have and these kind of things and whether you want children or not, Jay, I mean, we're really lucky as men that we can have children a lot later than women, right? So if that's not something that's unavailable to you by any means, if that's something that, you have to ask yourself, is that part of the story that's going on in your mind, right? So let's lead into what you can do about all of this and where the next steps are, right? So you said, I'm frustrated that I still have unresolved anger around your relationship. You're still wanting to like make her wrong and identify all these ways that she's wrong. That's your ego wanting to protect itself, all right? So go back into the feeling of frustration. Where do you have frustration in your body? And just you are going to breathe and recognize I have frustration in my body at that point, okay? Breathe. It's not wrong or bad to feel that in your body. You don't need to shame yourself for that. Shaming yourself for that, which is kind of what I'm feeling a little bit. This is what I'm kind of reading between the lines here. Shaming yourself just shoves that shit down. It's not processing. You gotta let it wash over you, not shove it down and send it to the basement. I mean, there's a saying that whatever you shove down and send to the basement goes down there and lifts weights, and that shit comes back stronger later. So you don't need to shame yourself for feeling frustrated. Just feel the frustration. Do it during your morning routine where you have time for meditation, for yoga, for stretching, for a walk. Do like a walking meditation with no music. Look at the trees, listen to the birds. Let the frustration wash over you for the first step. Breathe, feel it in your body. That's one part of the routine. Another part of the routine is speaking kindly to yourself, fathering yourself, nurturing yourself with kind words. You are moving forward here. You are good enough. You are worthy of intimacy and connected relationship. Whether you literally say that out loud or journal it to yourself, right? Or make a video into your phone and watch it back. Make a 20-second video to yourself and watch it back. Some of these things, like, it may feel really weird to do that, right? But that's what it takes to father yourself. You didn't get many of these loving, fatherly, intimate connections in a healthy way as a child. And it's time to do that for yourself now. It's going to feel kind of weird, and that's okay. That's part of this work. So at least once a week, keep up what you're doing. Write to me, email to me, post on the forum, keep going, all right? Do the homework that I assigned you last time. Let me take a look really fast. Good guy scorecard again. Continue with Beyond Success and Failure. Yeah, record into your phone. You did number 4, which I asked you. See how it goes with Kelly, all right? You've seen her openness and availability for vulnerability and intimacy right now. Looks to me like 0 out of 10. So you'll have to think about how much longer you want to continue to invite her into that space with you. I don't have a perfect answer. It could be another 3 months, it could be 6 months, it could be 12 months, it could be none. Like, there is no perfect answer here, right? You will know within your heart if, and don't decide in one moment. I mean, journal about it over a few days or a week, certainly, but you will become clear if you want to continue to invite her into that space. Continue talking with other women, absolutely. And yeah, this speaking and closing your eyes and speaking to your little boy twice a week, that can be a part of your morning routine or your meditative routine. Absolutely give yourself 30 minutes to an hour every morning if you can. Sure, take 1 day off, take 2 days off. You don't need to be, it's not about being perfect, but start creating that routine if it isn't already nailed down, to give yourself 30 minutes or an hour every morning. Jay, bud, it's, from my heart, dude, it's a pleasure to work with you because you are engaging in this work. You are taking steps forward. You are engaging in the community. All right, brother? I'm here for you. Keep it up, dude. Talk to you soon.
I'ma tell you about a woman whose heart is sunshine, whose body burned hot. I'ma tell you about a woman who's cold as tundra, with some frozen eyes. I can tell by the way she moves that she cares, and it's lovely too. I'ma tell you about a story of a broken man, how it began.